If you've watched a lot of my videos, you may have noticed that I almost never use the word hentai, although I refer a lot to anime porn. I very rarely use phrases like ecchi. I would rather just call something a fan service show. I rarely make reference to moe. In fact, I never do on the main channel. I mostly do when I'm making arguments on this channel, because on this channel I kind of expect people to be a little bit more in the depths, if you will. I don't like making reference to lots of these terms because I feel like they don't have a concrete enough meaning that everyone can agree on, and B, you have to explain them, and it just makes things inaccessible, whereas you can easily just use terms that mean more clearly what you mean, and it'll be fine. Now, I really think that a lot of these terms come from, like, a sense of wanting anime and its culture to be sort of exclusive, to be a club, like an in group, where you know all the terms and it's like a rite of passage. You have to learn all these turns of phrase and all these different aspects of the culture in order to become a true otaku. That's the kind of stuff I would have been way into when I was a kid. Like as a teenager, I loved that kind of thing of like, oh man, I'm learning all the terms, learning all the secrets. I'm gonna be an otaku boy. Um, but now, Jesus Christ, I hear a cat from somewhere. Hold on. So my approach now, though, is that I just see all that stuff as needlessly convoluted. It just alienates people who don't know what you're talking about. It bogs down your writing if you have to explain yourself every time. And the worst part is that it doesn't even mean the same stuff to different people. Not all of it's totally accurate. Now, the reason I stopped saying hentai, and this was before I started even writing to a broader audience, is that in Japan, it doesn't mean that. They don't call their porn hentai. That's not a thing. Hentai is a word that means pervert, essentially. And it comes up a lot in anime, especially in the late 90s and early 2000s. Characters would often call one another hentai, as in pervert. So it's a term that a lot of anime fans knew. But here's the thing. Porn, especially like porn manga, is referred to as H. The letter H. The way you say the letter H in Japanese is ecchi. Ecchi literally means sex, and it's literally the letter H. So when you conflate the fact that hentai means pervert and porn manga is H manga, it becomes hentai manga. And so it's like this weird coalescing of elements. But the weirdest part is that ecchi came to mean fan service in the West, where we refer to ecchi anime as fan service anime, even though in Japan ecchi anime would be porn anime, and hentai is just a word for pervert. So it's all completely convoluted. None of it makes any fucking sense. It's all just like this weird thing that's happened. So like when you refer to ecchi, you're really referring to sex. When you refer to hentai, it's just like a totally American or Western construct that's not even in the Japanese language to refer to porn as hentai. So, you know, aside from the fact that it's wrong, now you also have to explain it to people. Like you have to indoctrinate people into this terminology and then explain, and then like depending on what level they're on, they might think it's idiotic. Like when I was an anime blogger, there was certain bloggers who were like really uppity about the idea that like they'd get really mad if you referred to stuff as hentai because like, oh, it doesn't mean that, like get all snobby. So it's like you have to go down all these different layers, and it's like, how about we just cut all the pretension and just call it porn? Because that's what it is. It's just porn anime. It's just animated pornography. There's no reason to have a special term for it. There's no reason to have a special term for moe anime when it's completely contentious what the hell that means. No one really understands it. That's why I had that show, my video, how to distinguish cute girls anime. I could have easily called it moe anime, but then I would have had to explain what moe means, and that's a whole other can of worms because different people feel differently about what it means. Everyone knew what I meant when I said cute girls anime. It's shows about cute girls. We got it. Check, you know? So yeah, that's why I don't use a lot of that terminology, and I think no one really needs to. It's kind of pointless. I mean, it's it's fine in context like this where like everyone knows. Like I feel like on the After Dark channel, I'm not trying to be accessible. Most of you know what I'm talking about. I'm willing to throw out these terms and stuff, you know. But like when I see people making videos where they like make reference to, for instance, isekai as a genre, and people keep saying, "Oh, it's a subversion of isekai," and I'm like, no one knows what the fuck you're talking about, you know, unless you explain it. And if you explain it, it's a waste of time. Just say the genre of people going to another world. Makes perfect sense.